word insurmountable conjures up connotations of hopelessness and unsuccessful attempts. Yet it also alludes to the fact that the problem at hand has been attempted by someone before.
Insurmountable problems tend to proliferate in the lives of people and the planet, such as debt, grief, addiction, poverty, and on a more global scale, that of climate change, malnutrition, death from preventable diseases, and food waste. These are all very real and very large problems, and it's often hard to know where to start when trying to tackle any one of these. However, opportunities to tackle these problems and make your mark do arise, and if you're willing and motivated enough to do so, you can seize any and every of these opportunities. For me, the opportunity to tackle food waste presented itself last year. Before I go on to tell my story, I first want to contextualize food waste and explain why I listed it as an insurmountable problem on par with climate change and malnutrition. Food waste is the world's third largest greenhouse gas emitter, after only China and the United States. This is due to the large amount of resources required to grow the food that's eventually wasted, as well as from the methane that's released when food breaks down, which lasts in the atmosphere for decades before breaking down into carbon dioxide, making it up to 30 times more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide alone. In 2017, £13 billion worth of edible food was sent to waste by UK households, working out to around £470 per house. To put £13 billion into context, you could go to university for 1.4 million years and not pay that amount in tuition fees. In 2016, £2.4 billion was spent on food waste by the UK hospitality industry, with restaurants spending £682 million. That works out to around £3,500 spent per tonne of food waste, which is a lot of money to be throwing in the bin. According to FairShare, 250,000 tonnes of edible food is sent to waste each year by the English food industry, which is enough for 650 million, yes, million meals. 8.4 million people struggle to afford to eat in the UK, and so these statistics become even more abhorrent. I hope that you're all shocked by these statistics, and I'm sure that you're all struggling to comprehend the large scales discussed. How much space would 650 million meals take up, 8.4 million people take up, or £13 billion take up? Don't worry if you're struggling to comprehend these, because humans are incapable of doing so. This is what's led us to the food waste crisis we're currently in, and results from the mismatch between the environment we live in today and the environment our ancestors evolved in. Unlike our highly industrialized society, humans evolved in nomadic hunter-gatherer groups of up to 150 individuals. We evolved to remember large geographic ranges, not a large quantity of items. And then around 10,000 years ago, the agricultural revolution happened, setting us on a path to a sedentary lifestyle filled with an excess of items, and to the waste-filled world we currently live in. We're now detached from the processes of food production and waste management, allowing supermarkets to force large quantities of food through our homes in the forms of multi-packs and best-before dates. It almost seems like our biology and our society traps us into taking part in this food waste scandal. However, we can escape this trap and make a difference. I'm now going to take you back to May 2019. At my college at university, first-year students are catered for, and second and third-year students have to self-cater. I was a second year, revising for exams in college, and I was hungry. I went to the cafeteria at the end of lunch and asked if I could have some of the food that was left over. And I was told no, which confused me, as I couldn't see a logical reason as to why I wouldn't be allowed this food. This confusion quickly turned to motivation when I saw that food be thrown away. Confusion, motivation, and hunger led me to go home that day and decide to protest. The next day, I sat myself down in the cafeteria, right in the middle of everyone's way, and began to protest. My idea was simple: offer the food that would otherwise be thrown away to non-catered students at the end of the meal, thus saving food being thrown in the bin. I was sure that other people would join in on my protest, as what could be more important than stopping food waste? Apparently, exams and essays are more important to most people. And so my protest was a rather lonely one. Not one person joined in on my protest. And in fact, many people told me I would fail. But that didn't stop me. After a week of protesting, I met with the head of catering at my college, and we worked together to implement a food waste reduction scheme. The way the scheme worked is that during the last 15 minutes of the meal, non-catered students can come, pay a £1.50 charitable donation, and get to eat the food that would otherwise be thrown away. And so Embrace the Waste was born. And on the first day of it running, people were queuing out the door to use it. In 8 weeks, Embrace the Waste has saved over 650 meals from going to waste and raised over £1,000 for charity. Note, it only ran at weekday lunches, and so all of this positivity arose from just 40 mealtimes. Embrace the Waste was attributed to a 56% reduction in total food waste at my college, and through this, students were able to donate money to charity and get a discount meal. I thought that tackling food waste would be the only insurmountable problem I faced in my journey. But it turns out that creating change in a highly bureaucratic, large institution, such as Durham University, was an even greater challenge. Here I was, with a win-win solution that tackled some of the greatest issues facing the world today, and yet I was blocked from spreading this further than my college. Progress was going great, and Embrace the Waste was set to be implemented university-wide at the start of 2020. But then progress slowed down, and no more change happened. Now, Embrace the Waste continued to be a success in my college, but other colleges were resistant to change. I truly live my life according to the philosophies of you don't ask, you don't get, and you can get 1,000 no's, but all it takes is one yes. And it's lucky I do, really, because the excuses and no's from staff members started to pile up. People often lose their motivation when they're told no, especially when you're told no more times than you can count. But this is what separates the change makers from the rest. Remember a time when you had a great idea, but you were told no. That confusion, that frustration, that anger, turn it into motivation. I have never lost my motivation to reduce food waste. And it's this motivation to make my mark that's led to my own personal development, led to the success of Embrace the Waste, and ultimately led to me giving a TED Talk. By using my college's statistics as a benchmark, Embrace the Waste has the potential to save between 60,000 and 116,000 meals per academic year if implemented university-wide, generating between 90,000 and 174,000 pounds. This money could be donated to charity or used for carbon offsetting, thereby helping the university on their path to become carbon neutral. If we think on a bigger scale, and imagine that every UK higher academic institution implements Embrace the Waste, 14 million to 26 million meals could be saved per academic year, generating between 21 and 39 million pounds. All of a sudden, this seemingly insurmountable problem seems a lot easier to solve. Coupled with existing work that's going on to tackle restaurant food waste, as well as other ideas to reduce food waste that haven't been thought of or implemented yet, humanity will summit the problem of food waste, and with it, take away the associated ecological, financial, and humanitarian costs. But this is just one example of how one person can start to tackle an insurmountable problem. If you see something that needs to change, be that change. It might seem hard at first, because if it was easy, someone else would be doing it. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible. I truly hope that Embrace the Waste continues to grow and spread, because I know the great impact it has in reducing food waste, raising money for charity, and offering people the chance to get a discount meal. And I'll continue to tirelessly work to make this a reality, because if many people work together to tackle an insurmountable problem, it will eventually get solved. If you see a problem that needs to be solved, no matter how insurmountable it seems, make your voice heard, make sure people listen, and make your mark. Thank you.